How worried should we be that we don't have a deal in place yet?
Well, it's obvious that the positions remain far apart on key issues, and the general atmosphere here is that the no deal option becomes the most likely. Of course, the Prime Minister will travel to Brussels, but there's some circles that you cannot square. I mean, you cannot have market access without a degree of regulatory alignment towards the market that you want to serve. And therefore, if that is a no-go for the United Kingdom, then it's going to be a no-go for us as well, giving market access. And that's the toughest issue. And bear in mind that the unilateral actions of the British government, that is the government of Boris Johnson himself, who signed the withdrawal agreement not a year ago, and now openly play with the option of not abiding by it, well, this is not exactly a confidence-building measure. In other terms, there's zero trust in whatever promise will be made by the British Prime Minister. We need promises to be backed up by legal text, and that should include, indeed, what you call the governance. That is the possibility for the European Union to take unilateral action if the British government does not stand by its word. And all this seems to be unacceptable to Boris Johnson. If it is, well, then there will be no deal.
Right, so that's for the content. But just in terms of the time, you know, we're looking at December 8th. We're waiting for a meeting tomorrow. We're waiting for European leaders to give this a final go. You also need to vote this. Do we think we can get this done before the end of the year? Or ultimately, this is going to need extra time?
Well, it's, you know, if you wanted to do the things properly, we should have had a legal text at the end of October. We're now almost 6 weeks later. And still no text. It becomes very narrow. I mean, the European Parliament has penciled in an extra plenary on the 28th of December, but we don't have a legal text yet. So, I mean, unless you consider the European Parliament as a rubber stamping body, then, well, we will need time. And indeed, it increasingly looks that if there is a deal, some extra time will be needed to ratify it.
Okay, so let's go back to the extra time. What do you mean by that? Does it mean that you vote this in January?
Yeah, well, yes, indeed, it would be a vote in January. But then again, I mean, this is not the main question. The main question is whether or not there will be a deal. And there, frankly speaking, the more time passes by, the less I believe there will be one. So the ratification
but the timing is also
not
key
an
because,
issue.
as you know, Right. But the timing, as I say, is key because the Brits do say that they would rather not go for an extension. So that would be crucial here. But I do wonder tomorrow when Boris Johnson, if that meeting happens in Brussels, what can von der Leyen offer the Prime Minister, though? Because this is going to take two to move.
Well, I'm afraid that she cannot offer something to the tune of have your cake and eat it. And that is what the hard Brexiteers want. And that is also what Boris Johnson promised time and over again. And this is not on offer.
Right. And you know, if you were to give this a percentage, given what we know, given the European leaders are still also playing this very hardball, how likely do you think it's for this deal to finally come through?
Well, less than even. So my money is now on having no deal. I know that it was a Prime Minister who wanted to make a last-ditch attempt, but then again, that was already the scenario on Saturday. So the negotiators were given 48 hours more, and the result after 48 hours is that nothing moved an inch. And you can call that playing hardball. I'm just saying, well, we are protecting the vital interests of the European Union. And as much as the United Kingdom is legitimate when it defends what is considered its vital interest, it has to expect that the European Union will do likewise. So this is not playing hardball, it's just sound and cold negotiation.
Right, and you've made that point very clear. For the European Union, it's key protecting the single market. Philippe Lamberts, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us on Bloomberg today.